cool. It just looks like I hit you or broke up with you. Now we're doing a podcast.
I have to be so mean.
You're such a dick.
I do nothing but love you, Liz.
Yeah, I'm like, this isn't about me. This is about misophonia and neighbors. I do not want to be blamed for this. Do you really want to start?
Yeah, we started.
Oh God. Hi. Welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
And
tried to say that as sane as possible.
Well, I was saying, the funniest part of our podcast happens before we record. And then, of course, you start. And I'm like, wait, you're still crying. You're still sad.
Yeah, I know. But, like, what do you do? Like, I'm not going to suddenly look better. Do you know what I mean? Like, once you cry, you have cry face for the next 2 hours.
I mean, honestly, I had a very weird friend tell me I looked beautiful when I cried when I was 15 years old. And I was like, and I've always remembered that. Like, I was just like,
that's the kind of thing you remember.
Yeah, you're like, maybe I'm smiling too much. Like, you're like, I'm not, the best version of myself is pouty face, apparently.
You ever judge yourself in the middle of a really hard cry? You're just looking in the mirror while you're crying. You're like, oh my God, I'm an ugly crier. Like, I don't even want to imitate the face right now. It's just like, just in the middle of your demise emotionally.
Yeah. I get really splotchy, especially like when I'm crying. Like I get really like weird splotchiness. Same when I like work out crazy and I get super hot, so I get really splotchy. But more of it is like when you cry so hard that you make sounds, and you're like, "Fucking calm down, Liz." Like I've had it where it's just like, Liz, what do you want your roommates to come in? Put a pillow over your face and contain yourself. Like, yeah, I truly have like a voice in my head that's just like, you're being dramatic, but I am upset, but I'm like judging how upset I am.
Oh yeah. It's like I think comedians especially have two minds. I remember an acting coach was like, after scenes, I would say exactly what he was gonna say. He was like, how do you do that? How do you be in the scene and then be able to judge the scene? I was like, it's being a comedian. Because you're saying you're saying your jokes, but you have to be in the jokes for them to be any good, because there's nothing worse than like just a rote comedian just saying words. So you're in your jokes, but then you're also taking in everything in the room.
Yes. And there has to be that awareness. Like that's half the reason people like what we do, is you have an awareness of yourself, you have an awareness of the room, you have an awareness of people's reactions. And then you have awareness of the joke itself, where you're like, I did that better last week. I'm cheating these people.
Yeah. Like I've edited out so many complaints during the podcast about the noise upstairs just because it's so boring to listen to. But like it affects me so much.
Yeah, I think also everybody can relate to like that neighbor. Like you stayed at my place and you're like, do people test bombs while bowling on top of your, and I'm just like every night at like 3 a.m. Once I was vacuum cleaning at like 11 o'clock, first of all, for like 5 minutes. And I thought I heard someone like stomp or something. And I was like, oh, I'm being noisy. I shouldn't be vacuuming at 11. I didn't even think about that. And I had like dropped something. And then I was like, why do I even care what my neighbors think? They are literally throwing basketballs from one side to the other all night long. I can't even imagine what my neighbors are doing.
There's a really funny sketch about what your upstairs neighbors are doing. And it's like, so two people are getting interviewed. And it's like an art form that they have. Like, and the downstairs neighbor's like, what? It sounds like a fucking adult baby learning to walk. And he's up there just like sort of like waddling across the floor. They have chains and they're
so good. It's so good. That is one of the best sketches. That's one of those ones that you can rewatch over and over again, and you're like,
oh yeah. So how are you?
What's funny about beginning our podcast with crying? I'm sure every man is triggered right now. They're like, I can't right now. Like, I have a girlfriend that already does this. Please don't start your podcast with crying. I made a fan in the audience at my first headlining show in 8 months cry.
What?
I have to re-listen to the audio. I'm going to send it to you and be like, is this the meanest thing that's ever happened or the funniest thing that's ever happened?
Probably both.
Okay, so I haven't headlined in 8 months. I was in Tampa on Sunday, and I tell them, I come on stage. First of all, I'm like wiping down a mic. I'm putting on like a mic condom. Like it's like, it's like a whole like 70 second like thing of like, I literally was just like, sorry, I'm not even a comic, just doing woman's work, just cleaning, rearranging. And so I go, hey, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I have not headlined in 8 months. I have probably about a half hour of new stuff and like some other stuff that I don't remember. I might forget jokes in the middle of it. I'm very nervous. Like this is unusual to go this long without headlining. So let's be nice. Let's be gentle. Let's be thoughtful. You know what I mean? Like there's little chuckles, but for the most part, I'm just being very genuine. And I'm fucking nervous. So as I'm doing this little speech, this woman, second, third row, shouts something out. And I was like, okay, Great example. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. That throws me off, and that's gonna, like, it's fine now, but don't continue to do that, because these jokes aren't innately inside of me the way they used to be, and don't do that. And I said it like nicely, but I was like, don't do that. So 5 minutes in, she shouts something else out. I ignore it, but I kind of almost give her like a mom look. Like, what do we do? Like, Sarah, we talked about this. We talked about this. Actually, her name's Jamie. I got to really get to know her. So then I have this new joke. It's like a two-parter. I do the first part, and it's kind of a joke. It's you know it. It's very new, but it's about how I consider every ex a lifeboat I hope to never use. And what I'm noticing with this joke is that it kind of upsets people, because everybody's fear, I think, is that their current partner thinks about their ex, or talks to their ex, or is going to go back to their ex. And I'm not completely reaffirming it, but I am saying that exes aren't dead to me, that they're on reserve. And it's not exactly how I feel. What I am saying is, if my choices are to die alone, be with somebody I met on Tinder, or be with an ex, I'm going to choose an ex.
Well, why don't you explain that in your joke? Because I think that's...
I do, but that's how jokes work. It's at the end.
Well, you put it at the beginning.
The tension is built with me saying something that is fucked up, and then I take them on a journey of what I actually mean by that. There's metaphors, there's stories, there's examples. This is my craft. This is what I do. I talk too much, and there's a payoff at the end. So I say that first line, she shouts something out, and you know me, I literally go, fuck off. And then I keep talking.
Which, and I know in Liz speak means, I love you, but please be quiet. Like, that's just how you say it.
Exactly. I've said it to my cat every day. Every day.
I mean, that's the problem, actually, Liz, is that you've been talking to your cat. I treated
this woman like my cat. So, do the joke. She shouts. I say, fuck off. People laugh because this is now her third time of shouting something out. And when I go to look over, she's crying. And I melt. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no. No, don't cry. Don't cry. I don't mean it.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, I mean it. Like, please don't shout out. But like, I literally was like, we talked about this. I'm nervous. This is hard and then this joke, I even said what I said to you, like, this joke is like a very stressful joke for people, and we need to finish the joke. Otherwise I look like a monster. Everybody goes home with their partner and they start to be like, are they thinking about their ex? You can't interrupt any joke, but you can't interrupt this joke. And she was like, I was really excited to see you. And I was like, no. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm not trying to be mean. But if you were excited to see me, you got to let me do my thing. And then she goes, I'm really high. And I go, oh, I'm so glad you said that. That's okay. That's okay. Nobody likes high people. This isn't about you. This is about what you're doing. You're fine. I was like, what's your name? She's like, Jamie. I go, Jamie, you're awesome. I'm sure you're a wonderful person, but you're not fun right now. That's what the problem is. Nobody likes high people. So
okay.
I talked to her for a while. I know. Yeah. I know you're mad at me. I was like, but I was just like,
what? I'm not mad at you. Why am I mad at you?
But I was just like, I literally, but I was trying to tell her, I was like, this has nothing to do with you. This has everything to do with your behavior. Please don't take this personally. And then she was still like, blah, blah, blah. And then I basically promised her all my stuff. I was like, I'll give you free stuff. I literally turned into my father. I said it on stage. I was like, I'm my father now. I'm like, please don't show emotions. We don't do emotions in this family. No emotions. 7 minutes into my set, I made a woman cry, and I had to talk about it on stage for like another 7 minutes.
Was the audience okay? Lots of questions. Was the audience with you? Or
they were with me.
Okay,
yeah, they were with me. They were a great audience, and I stand by what I said. I'm sure she's a wonderful person, but you know how you are when you're high or drunk, and like I don't think this was normal high. I think this is Florida high. Like, you know what I mean? Something that just makes you not present.
What does that mean? Like meth?
I don't know. But it's not pot, because on pot I'm not shouting stuff out. I feel like drunk people shout stuff out, and I feel like people on some like something that's not keeping you in this realm shout stuff out. Our whole purpose is to give people a nice evening and to have fun, and I just made this girl feel bad about herself, which is not what I want to do at all. So it was this weird thing between like, I know she's the problem, but I innately and then I was teaching her about the difference between road rage and stage rage, and I was like, do you get road rage? She's like, I don't. And I was like, man, I gotta do drugs. I would love to not be an angry person. Like,
Yeah. First of all, I think it's really funny that you had the story lined up to talk about today.
yeah.
And I was crying when we started this podcast. Like,
And I was like,
sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed, like, listening back to the podcast, but sometimes we talk about things that later become like part of what we talk about, like later during the theme, or the or what do we call the main part? Topic. Yeah. And it's just weird. It's just weird how it kind of, sometimes it comes full circle. But the other thing, I found it interesting that you offered her stuff, because you have a heart of gold, and you would never knowingly hurt somebody. I find that her behavior manipulative as fuck.
So I actually don't feel that way, because I very much push back on when men say that crying is manipulative, and I'm just like, this is my emotions. I can't stop my face from doing that. I'm not trying to make you apologize. I'm not trying to
No, but Liz, there's like okay, I yell out during the show, you say fuck you because you're you. I go, oh, I liked you and I wanted to come see you. But my takeaway from that would be, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the show. I was just so excited to see you. Her takeaway was to cry, make you feel bad. I wanted to come see you. I'm so high right now. What does that even mean? Why do I have to know that you're high? Was that supposed to excuse your behavior? Then you admit that your behavior isn't right.
I agree. So it's like, I agree and don't agree. First of all, why the fuck are you high at a show? Like, right there, you're basically saying, I'm not, when somebody pre-games, you're basically saying, I don't know if this is going to be fun, so I'm just going to make sure that it is fun. You know what I mean?
I think you're taking that a bit personally, but yeah, but go on. I don't think
but it's a little, I'm sure it has more to do with her but like, why are you going to a show high? Like, you go to shitty movies high. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I don't disagree that her being like, I was so excited to be here and now you're being mean to me. But it's also, yes, she should have responsibility for her behavior. But then also, I understand that there's duality to my personality. You've seen me go from 0 to 100. You've seen me be like, oh, no, thank you. Oh, that's so kind. I will murder your family if you don't get the fuck away from me.
Oh, yeah. I wish I knew the difference between Jekyll and Hyde right now, because I want to make a Heckle and Hyde joke.
I think
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Hyde is the good guy and Jekyll is the...
It's never gonna... I could look it up right now, edit all of this out, and then seem like a hero, or just know that there's a Heckle Hyde, Jekyll Hyde comparison.
I think this is where we struggle as performers. Yes, I'm very honest on stage. Yes, these jokes are very much my life and how I feel, but they're a version of me. It's not completely me. You know me, but the audience is never really going to be my friend or really know me the way my friends do or my family does or whatever. And I think they start to convince themselves that they know who you are because they've seen a couple hours of material or listened to a podcast a couple of times, when the truth of the matter is that I am a very angry person and I don't always do the right thing. And I can be abrasive. You're seeing the edited version of me. You make me look smart. Me writing my jokes for 6 months until they're perfect makes me look like I said the right thing at the right time in the right way. It's a little sheen.
This is what I love about you unleashing on stage, is because this is 100% pure Liz. There was we talked about angry. We talked about anger in another episode. When you talk about, like, it's either going to be violent or you're going to cry. What you get on stage is the violent.
Yeah.
You're not going to cry on stage. You can't show that weakness. So
yeah.
And I don't know if anyone's had the pure delight of seeing you unleash on stage, but it's fabulous. Like, every time. I remember being we were in Copenhagen, and somebody yelled out at you, and you just, it was so beautiful. It was just,
it wasn't even they yelled at. It was a kid. It was like a 20-year-old kid.
That was the best part. You unleashed on he was like 13.
Yeah, he was young. And I looked at the parents and I was like, I'm mad at you. Like, I can't yell at this kid. But like, he's being like, clouds are, there's different shapes to clouds. Yeah, I don't give a fuck, kid. I'm in the middle of headlining in a country I don't even know anything about. And you have this kid and you're a bad parent. Like, I went nuts.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And I think what she'll soon realize is that she's a part of living
part of Liz's history.
She got yelled at by Liz Mealy. People are going to want that. They're going to want that in the future. And if not already. So, I mean, she's lucky.
Yeah, is she? That was
Yes.
a very beautiful way of trying to make me feel better. I felt bad for days about it, to be honest. I'm like, Elizabeth, is that how we talk to people? Is that how you want to talk to people?
It's stand up.
Yeah,
Anything
I know.
goes. She shouldn't have
And she talked.
interrupted.
Oh, what you should know, she talked the rest of the show, and I felt so helpless because I had already gone to 100 on her that I felt like I couldn't say anything.
But this is what I
Yeah,
mean. Like, she was going to talk anyway. It wasn't
yeah.
about her. It wasn't about you. It was about her the whole time. And that's why I feel like her, I came all this way to see. Sorry. I'm sorry about the way I'm reenacting you if you're watching, but I came all this way to see you and you made me cry. It isn't about you still. It's about her. And like, it was just bring me the attention.
You know what actually genuinely makes me angry? So I have a couple of heckler videos where guys have hit on me in the middle of my joke and derailed my joke to hit on me. And so I've had guys be like, ew, this bitch is so, and I go, I'm at work.
Yeah.
I'm at work. If a police officer was being hit on and they went to the nth level, you would be like, yeah, she's at work. Don't touch her ass. Like, what are you doing? But I'm at work and they're like, she should be grateful. What? He was just asking. If I was in a play and a guy interrupted to be like, hey, what are you doing? People would go nuts. But nobody sees what we do as art. And that's what is really at the end of the day upsetting about, like, that's really, if we kind of put a label on all of this anger, it's because nobody sees what we're doing as taking focus, as taking craft, as being worth the money, worth the time, worth the effort. And it's like, just because our tickets aren't $1,000 yet, it doesn't mean it takes any less work. If anything, we're just being underpaid for how hard we work.
Yeah. No, it's infuriating. But like, in your defense, anybody who did that, guy or girl, like who interrupts isn't, so it's, guys who take it personally, fuck off.
Yeah, that's
And
kind of what I say in the comments.
yeah,
You can fuck off. You can fuck
because
off.
something
And you can
changes
fuck
in
off.
your eyes, in your big,
I do. I do get
crazy
crazy eyes.
eyes. You go, it's like something snaps, and then you go, like, you focus on the audience member like a robot with, like, I don't know, I want to say Terminator or something, but I've never seen it.
You know what's actually really funny? So I'm staying with my friend Danny, and she has 3 dogs, and one of her dogs is a German Shepherd, and they have these big kind of like bay windows, and just somebody walking their dog or somebody going for a jog, Decker just goes nuts, like nuts. And his eyes change, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a German Shepherd. And
Yeah,
it's all about protection. I'm protecting. But
yeah.
it's like, but it is, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm a cat, but I'm not. I'm a German Shepherd that's like, what are you doing?
We discovered you were a dog in the last episode, so that's
Oh, yeah.
you just keep reinforcing that.
Announcements. Thank you to all our Patreons. You guys have been so thoughtful, and we're so grateful. We have stickers coming out for you guys, as well as bonus episodes are coming out first of the month, some extended interviews.
Yeah, early access to episodes, control our Googles, Google with us.
Yeah. Thank you for everybody that has given, and if you want to give, it's patreon.com/2nondoctors.
Follow us on the social medias, 2 Non-Doctors on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, 2 Non-DRS on Instagram. Rate and review us on iTunes, please. It helps us a lot. If you like us, let us know. And it makes us feel good. Honestly, we every single review, we go, hey! Especially if you're in the UK, we need to boost those a bit.
Yeah, come on, UK. Say some nice stuff about us. Fan mail?
Yeah, let's do it. We have a Bill wrote into us. Bill says, hello, I watched your new episode today. There was a bit at the very end about some guy calling Maria difficult. It sounds like some gender nonsense. If a man is strong-minded, he is rewarded with the title alpha male, and it's seen as positive. If a woman is strong-minded, she's labeled as difficult. I wouldn't let it get you down. It says more about the guy who said it. I think that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Honestly, and the guy was kind of a dick. It's nice to get an email of support like that.
I know that I've been working on and learning about boundaries the last couple of years, and it's been really difficult for me to set them and not feel guilty about them. But really, I think one of the things that is innately put on women is that when you set strong boundaries and you hold them, you're seen as a bully, as difficult, as bitchy. If you go to put your hands on my shoulders, girl or guy, and I go, hey, that really kind of makes me uncomfortable. Can you not do that? I feel like a woman would be like, oh my God, so sorry, didn't mean it. A guy would be like, Jesus Christ, I'm just being friendly. And you're like, hey man, you know nothing about me. You don't know if anything bad happened to me. You don't know if I fucking have sore shoulders. You don't know if I hate the fuck out of you. And the idea of you touching me makes me want to vomit. Fucking just listen. And that's where it gets insane, where it's just like, I say it as nicely as possible, and I'm a bitch already. So that when I say it firmly, I'm a cunt. And you're like, I didn't even have to get to cunt. Just fucking listen when I'm nice about it. But that's where, like, I really do feel like no matter how women talk sometimes, we're always labeled as difficult or bitchy or unfriendly or whatever. And you're like, you don't listen whether I'm nice or not nice. So you know what? At some point, you just stop being nice.
Yeah, if there was a heckler video that's like a male comedian put up, no male YouTube commenter would be like, well, the guy was just trying to be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
They would never stick up for the heckler.
Yeah. No, they love it. They're like, wow, he got destroyed. All I'm doing on stage is setting boundaries. Hey, man, when I'm talking, you don't talk. You want to know why you don't talk? Because nobody fucking paid to hear you talk. My name's on the posters. The lights are facing me. The chairs are facing me. I'm amplified. Yet I'm the asshole for saying, please don't talk.
You should be grateful when anyone says that you're
wants
beautiful.
to speak to me.
Because that's your currency.
Yeah. Oh, sweetheart, you're not going to be pretty for much longer. So you really missed out on an opportunity to be with a drunk that shouted out during your favorite thing to do that you get paid for. Really missed out.
All my best fucks were heckles. Just kidding, obviously.
Also, it feels nice to hear that actually from a male that kind of gets that we are between a rock and a hard place. Like we are just lose no matter how we assert ourselves.
Thanks for writing in, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. I want to hear your Google this week.
Oh, what a boring Google. Let me set that up. Just get your expectations down. I know everybody gets so excited for these. Are electric toothbrushes that much better than regular toothbrushes?
You say these things are boring, but I want to know the answer.
The markup on electric toothbrushes is like 500 million%. It's like you can buy a toothbrush for 95 cents.
You get it free at the dentist.
Free if you go to the dentist. I looked it up, and actually, like, a lot of dentists were saying that they do notice the difference when someone uses an electric toothbrush. Like they can tell the difference with plaque and everything. So there is a noticeable difference, and it does a better job cleaning gums, cleaning teeth, cleaning plaque. Which I guess that makes sense, because if you do the regular toothbrush motion, you get so much, but the electric one is like 8 times that. I don't know.
Anybody that uses an electric toothbrush, it does the job, but you can do a shitty job brushing. You know what I mean? Like think of the difference between a kid using it and an adult using it. If they keep it in their mouth around the same time, they're doing the same job.
Yeah.
Because it's doing all the work for you.
It's like a hand saw or a power saw.
Yes.
Electric toothbrushes decrease plaque and gingivitis. After 3 months, plaque was reduced by 21%, gingivitis by 11%, and within the electric toothbrush community, oscillating does a better job than just simply vibrating, which I think I just got vibrating.
I
did buy. Oscillating means like there's like maybe like 2 separate rows of brushes that like go opposite directions. I'm going to re-explain that without doing this motion.
I like it.
That oscillating.
The hand job of your teeth.
Why have our Patreons gone up so much?
I know. Wait, when you would rub someone's rug burn, or no, what is it when you would rub someone's arm?
It's like so racist. It's like Chinese rub or something.
Oh yeah, Indian rub burn or something like that. That's almost like the worst hand job ever. Just like Indian rug burn.
It's not Indian rug burn.
Damn it.
It's like an Indian burn.
Yeah,
that's really it. Racist. It's not a rug burn because it's not a rug. Anyway, oscillating means like there's a rotating set of brushes that go one way and then another set of brush bristles that go the other way.
And yours just kind of is like vibrating in your mouth.
I think so. I didn't take a good look at it, but yeah, Philips, Sonic. Because I looked up what the best electric toothbrushes. I swear to God, the range goes from like $20 to $150. The best electric toothbrush is a 2020 Pro Sis Variosonic electric toothbrush. Quip electric toothbrush, which is weird because I read an article that like the dentist was saying like I could tell when you're using Quip and not in a good way. Really? I used to get Quip is like the
I know ones. I think what's upsetting to me is all that's happening with technology right now is something that didn't cost a lot of money now costs a lot of money. And yes, there's improvements with it, but like I said, a toothbrush can be free to $2, and now people are like, for 20% more health, it's $150. And you're like, come on, man. If it was 100% more health, then 150 makes sense. But a 20% difference, I'll just brush my teeth longer.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, the thing that sold it for me was that the dentists were saying, what?
I'm going to get two toothbrushes.
Oh.
It looks like I'm fisting the air, but
See, that's the kind of thinking that makes you a good comedian.
That I'm a moron.
Kind of, you know what I mean though? Like, it's just like you think differently, and I like
moron.
that. You're adorable. But that's what sold it for me, was the dentist saying, like, they know there's a noticeable difference. I'm like, well, if I'm gonna brush my teeth, I might as well brush it to the max.
Yeah, of course.
So what was your Google?
What was my Google? Okay, so my Google was, what is night owl syndrome? But like immediately the internet was like, that's not a thing. You could be a night owl, which is a choice, which is just somebody that chooses to stay up late, or you can have delayed sleep phase syndrome, DSPS, which is a type of circadian rhythm sleep disorder, also known as delayed sleep phase disorder or delayed wake phase disorder. I think what I was really looking for is that, and which is the problem is your internal body clock. If you have this, you just can't fall asleep at socially acceptable bedtime hours, and your sleep is delayed anywhere from like 2 to 6 hours. So basically they're saying people that go to bed between like 2 and 6, which is interesting because I do, but I don't think I have this. The thing that makes somebody have this is that everything's delayed. So if you're going to bed at 2 a.m., then you're waking up at noon, which is not the case. Like I'm the type of person that goes to bed 2, 3, 4 in the morning and still wakes up at 9 a.m. Like it doesn't really, I know I'm tired, but that makes sense. I'm tired. I got less sleep than I was supposed to. So it can develop at any age. Mostly affects teenagers and young adults. Like I said, it's not the same as a night owl. Your clock is delayed. You usually don't have any other sleep issues. A lot of these disorders come with like a bunch of other issues, but that's usually not true. And then, you know what was weird about it is like the fixes were like kind of dumb. Like they were just like, well, every night you're going to go to bed 15 minutes earlier every night. So just add 15 minutes. And then it was like, oh, there's a bright light therapy, which is like every morning you sit next to a bright light box for 30 minutes to kind of trick yourself into getting on like the right time. And I was like, what are these light boxes look like?
Yeah, is
like,
it a certain type of light bulb, or could I just use LED lights? Or
also, you know how they say computers and screens mess up with you? I'm like, I'm pretty sure I sit by a light box 9 hours a day.
I know. How come the computer screen light is bad for you, but light box light is good for you?
Yeah, whatever. And then melatonin and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I think I was curious. We talked about it in an earlier episode. I really do think I have this like anxiety sleep disorder thing because I've always considered myself like a night owl. Like you like to go to bed early and wake up early. I don't necessarily like to go to bed late. It's just what my body does. So I was just curious about it, but it's definitely not what I have. Now, you know, night owl is different from delayed sleep phase syndrome.
You're just a night owl.
I think so. I think that anxiety thing is the real issue, is that I have fear of going to sleep.
I think that that's a big contributor, because I don't feel like you're buzzing at night. Like I don't feel like your thoughts are like sharp. I think you just can't get to sleep.
And that's the thing. This disorder says the person wants to go to sleep. The person is tired, but they can't go to sleep. So that's where the similarity is. But again, I think it's really this anxiety. And I'm like, someone's clearly going to have a knife to my head while sleeping. And I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of that. Let's get personal.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this one.
Yeah.
I did real creative work on this one.
I fucking forgot. I do like our podcast a lot. I don't know what it, I think that's like, by the time I'm done editing them, I don't think about them at all. You know what I mean?
It is homework. Like I mean, I have pages and pages of like research and organization, and I have to have our little like timeline written out because that's who I am. But I do it all the night before for the most part.
Yeah.
But I feel it is homework. Like I write it on my calendar and then I go, oh, fuck. So I either have to do it like at midnight or I'm doing it in the morning like I did today.
Oh my God, for our Chinese medicine episode, I was like crash course, like looking at YouTube videos at 3:20. We were supposed to meet at 4.
Yeah. Well, I'm so fortunate that nobody actually listens to us. Like we're really lucky.
That's not true.
Like, no, I mean.
Oh,
like,
they listen to us. They just don't listen to us.
Come on, man. Be on my wavelength. Be with me.
I'm here.
I like to say we start the conversation and then we derail it into nonsense.
It's perfect.
Okay, so this is a real question. Do you want me to go first because mine are awesome, or do you want to go first so that
you go first and then
and maybe I'll inspire you?
Actually, yes.
Okay,
that was the thinking.
Okay, so this was your question. If you died tomorrow, what would your biography be called? Pretty excited about this. First one, I wrote 3. First one, Sprinkles, A Legacy of Sweetness. Come on, so good. This one you have to know that I have a very new joke. I have a 3-minute rant about how much I hate math and how math is the worst thing to ever happen to me. So this one is called, I Hate Math, One Woman's Crusade to Label Math as a Form of Torture. And my final one, when emojis aren't enough, a story of friendship via text.
When emojis aren't enough, I love that one. That's my vote for that one.
Right? How good
Yeah,
is that?
it's
I was so
really good.
excited about that one.
Yeah.
And then it kind of inspired me. I was like, how cool would it be to have a book where it's just all text messages and you learn about the person via text messages?
That's actually dope.
I'm kind of like pretty proud of myself on
Yeah,
those.
those are good. They're fun. They're silly, but the when emojis aren't enough is like that's the one.
Thank you. Thank you for being there for me.
There was one I had that like I was like, oh, that's perfect, and then I didn't write it down. Liz, how long have I been a comedian?
I'm so disappointed.
How long have I even been writing comedy?
So disappointed.
Why am I not writing this shit down? This is why I texted you last night. It was like 1:30 in the morning my time, and I was like, what about this for an episode title? I just needed to get it written down, and I went back to bed.
Yeah.
Because I even said like I'm putting my phone away after this.
You're like, I'm sleeping right now, but
yeah, I had to write it because I know if I don't write it down, it's gone. So that was gone. What I said it on the day was mine would be called No Retirement Plan Anyway.
I feel like that's a title for somebody that died young.
Well, I mean, kind of. Like if I died tomorrow, that's the part of the question that if you died tomorrow.
That's true. We're very young. Yeah.
No retirement plan anyway. So I was like, as good as any, I guess.
Yeah.
If I were really thinking about it, it would be called Don't Move. The story of a girl who moved over 30 times.
Hilarious. And it would actually be kind of like a weird Marie Kondo like adjacent book, like how you should just appreciate the shit you have where you are.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so maybe you don't get light over here, but maybe you can just spend more time over here where you get good light. Like,
yeah. Get to know the people at the cafes nearby. But then you go. So it's like, it's actually kind of a lesson in letting go, which I've had to learn many, many times with sweaters I've left, with
my
things I've lost. Yeah.
Things you've lost.
Yeah, I was teaching you a lesson in letting go also.
I like that the moving one absolutely applies to you. And I actually think it could be a really rewarding book for others to read. I feel like they would really learn a lot. They'd be like, oh, this girl's had so many Craigslist roommates and it doesn't seem like it's brought her joy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been an experience, but if just to save you all the time of living with a bunch of randos on Craigslist.
Although we talked about it, I always wanted you to write a book of essays where it was like your New York stories of living with people, your LA stories of living with people, and then your London stories of living with people, especially because you have like crazy lady hitting you with a pillow in New York and then the old lady in London and her caretaker.
Yeah, I think I still want to write that book.
I do want you to write that book.
Any publishers out there listening, that's my book. But
yeah. She has great stories, very self-aware. She knows she shouldn't have moved.
I'm a good writer. I just never write.
You're a brilliant writer. I'm 100% team Maria.
I did some goal assessing again, and I was like, oh, I still want to write a book. Like, that's still very much there.
David Sedaris comes out with a book every 3 months. We could both come out with at least one book.
It's because people
I love David Sedaris.
Paying attention. Huh? I do too. So we're super excited to be sponsored by Infinite CBD, because have you ever tried CBD?
This is the first time, actually.
It's like all the calming effects of getting high but without the high, which I love, because I like the calming effects. I hate the high. You pass so many CBD stores and then they're just shoving everything in your face. It's expensive too, so it's not like it's like, oh, I'll just try all of them. Infinite CBD, they're actually rated top CBD company by herb.co.
Yeah, I'm excited. They sent us a bunch of stuff. So there's like freezing point topical cream, CBD gummies, CBD PM, CBD AM. I first started with the CBD PM because I feel like this whole podcast is me just talking about my sleep issues.
I was just thinking that. It's like, this is I was like godsend for you.
I know. I was like, did they listen? And they were like, we need to help her. I really hadn't done drugs in years. And then I started smoking pot during quarantine and I remembered why I stopped. Like, it just causes me panic and just all these issues. But like, I was really excited about the CBD PM and it's been really helpful. It's helped me stay asleep.
And they come in gummies, which are delicious. If you go to infinitecbd.com and you put in the promo code 2NONDRS, it'll give you 30% off your first order.
Hey, I don't know how to spell infinite. Could you spell that for us?
Yeah. So if you go to infinitecbd.com, that's I don't know how to fucking spell infinite.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying.
It's INFINITECBD.com and put in the code 2NONDRS for 30% off your first order. Thanks.
Thank you for sponsoring us. Are we ready to get into our topic?
Yes.
I realized after I picked this, we should have brought my mom on, but we'll have her back for something else. This is just like my mom got really.
I was gonna say, where's your mom?
Yeah,
Does
where's
she
my
hate
mom?
us?
My mom would have nailed this one. I'm just going to say, like, we're going to do the best we can, but Dr. Terry would have knocked this out of the park. This became our passion project after she filled our entire body with garbage food our entire lives. So our topic is preservatives and how food has kind of changed over the years. I think we kind of discussed this a little bit. I grew up on microwavable meals. I mean, like Hot Pockets, those little like TV dinners. Even when we weren't, it was just like, you know, those like medley bags of vegetables that are frozen, and lima
Yeah.
beans are the
The
reason
little
I was
square
ground.
carrots and yeah.
Yes. I always thought carrots were square. And then, of course, like sandwiches, pizza, you know, we went to Pizza Hut every Friday. My dad started making pizza, and I was like, this isn't Pizza Hut quality, Dad. Like, get
Yeah.
your life together. Clearly, a lot of pasta. And of course, now growing up, I'm allergic to yeast and barely Italian anymore because of it. I guess the reason I thought this topic was important is because since I started to get healthier with all my stomach issues, I've learned so much about how toxic our food is in general, especially American food and our preservatives. But then switching over, you've been in London for 4 years, and I personally always feel better when I eat in Europe with some of the stuff I can't eat in America. And so I kind of want to do that contrast and compare of both how bad our food is here, and then if you've seen a difference in your health being in Europe.
I was in LA for 7 years, so it was obviously a lot healthier. It was a lot easier to eat healthier and fresh, and you could get juices and smoothies and green juices, and I had that all the time. So I actually saw a decline in my health coming to London.
I can see that because they are like London and UK specifically. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of drinking culture, you know.
A lot of brown foods was what I've noticed. It's not
colorful dishes.
It's not a colorful plate like you would find in LA. Like I have to make a conscious effort to eat green foods, and it's all here. They have vegetables. It's not like they're fucking just eating canned beans all the time, but it just feels like the color palettes are much more muted.
I could see that. There's this restaurant. There's like this kind of, I mostly go there if I go for brunch, but there's this restaurant, and I realized, and I've taken you there, you go and it's like the avocado is like bright on top of it. And then like they always have like different colored vegetables, like different, you know.
This is in LA?
No, in New York.
Oh, right.
But like the reason I'm so in love with this restaurant in my neighborhood is that like maybe it's the plating, but really it just feels like it's all fresh. It's all beautiful. You get a full color palette.
Yeah.
Which I really do say it should be bright greens and different colors. And
right. Well, that's the thing about, I don't mean to just shit on London. I'd also like to shit on New York. Diner food is the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like, you know, sausage, egg and cheese sandwiches, omelets, all of it is just, it's all very muted, and you just don't get the colors that I used to get. I guess like, I don't know how to.
Which is just a variety of foods. I think what I've really learned over the years, and I think everyone does this, but I'm very much a creature of habit. You're probably the person that's made me eat more variety of foods, try a different variety of foods, get out of my comfort zone. But if I'm left to my own devices, both old Liz and even current Liz, I will eat the same 3 things every day. It does not bother me. It doesn't make me sad. I don't think I even care about food that much. Like I care when it's bad, but like it doesn't ruin my day, especially because what I'm eating for the most part, I already liked it. And then I just keep eating it every day. I discovered oatmeal, like this oatmeal at Trader Joe's, and I just ate that every morning for 10 years. I never got sick of it. I stopped eating it because my body was being sad. So it's like, even now with healthy food, I just keep eating the same 3 things. It's about accessibility, clearly cost effectiveness, and then your whatever range of making stuff. And I think if you're in a place where everything's muted, you don't think anything different, and you like it, why wouldn't you eat it every day? And then you don't realize that you're missing out on like actual nutrition.
Like fast food and everything, it's meant to be addictive. So when you start eating something, like if your oatmeal like has elements of it that your brain is latching onto, like the sugar and oatmeal. I'm guessing you had like a brown sugar cinnamon type thing.
Watch your mouth. There was cranberries in it.
Okay, but do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, tons of sugar.
The same with fast food, and the same with anything that has like a high fat, salt, and sugar content. Like, did you hear that Subway was deemed not an essential food in Ireland because their bread is practically cookies?
Oh, I don't doubt that for a second.
There's so much sugar in their bread that they were deemed non-essential. To get back to our topic, I think like the convenience eating happened in the 50s when everybody was sort of like, they're going more fast paced, they're going to fast food restaurants, they want TV dinners, and everything is instant. And I don't think they realized like the detriment on the health they were sacrificing for the fast.
Absolutely. And then it just kind of escalated and it got worse up until the 90s. So basically the way I kind of see it, and I'm messing up with dates as well, but like the way I saw it is that it started to get that convenient thing. So like you no longer had like, your milk isn't being delivered at your door and you know who the milkman is. And instead of going shopping maybe every 2 days, now you can go shopping once a week because there's more shelf life. You know, even that story you told on one of the episodes about how housewives, they didn't like the cake
Just add
mix.
water to cake mix, yeah.
Yeah, they wanted it to have an egg and oil, so it felt like they were doing something. Everything became, like you said, so instant, and it freed up so much time. And you know, I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the women's movement, because now women are going into the workforce. And so then now it's 2 people working and somebody has to make food, and let's make it quick and easy. Kids are doing more activities. Like all this stuff kind of sped everything up, where it was, how do we do this not only quickly, but probably on a budget? What I really see is not only that things have a longer shelf life, but now they have this crazy shelf life. I think everybody knows from like Super Size Me and a bunch of these kind of documentaries that like fast food just never goes bad. Like there was a video on TikTok of an older lady that has a burger from like 1989. She has like, still has a wrapping.
That's terrifying. I remember I left Easy Mac in a plastic bowl in my dorm for like 3 months, and it looked exactly the same. It wasn't creamy, but it looked exactly the same. So
and nobody's saying that burger is edible, but the fact that it looks like it's been left there for 2 days and not 25 years.
Yeah.
Or not even, that's longer, because this is like 1989. It's just horrific.
So it's like what effect is that having on the body? Because it's like, it's more expensive to eat organic. It takes more time to cook healthy whole foods.
It goes bad quicker.
So you're wasting money. So it's just like, what is it doing? Because I had really bad acne in my 20s, but I was eating fast food probably 3 times a day.
Oh my God.
Or at least twice a day, because I would have it for lunch in high school, because we were allowed to like leave for lunch. So I would get my car and drive to Taco Bell, and I would have it after school, and then whatever the fuck we ate for dinner, I don't know.
I like how I glorified your parents as making these like amazing Middle Eastern dishes, and you're just like, I don't know, they probably whip something together. It's not my problem.
It wasn't always amazing, you know, but I mean, I always liked it, but I'm just saying, like, health wise.
Yeah.
My mom used Crisco like it was fucking water. Like she still uses Crisco. I'm like, I don't know if that's the best way. But yeah, my skin was fucked. I had big cystic acne, like big, like on my chest, on my back, on my face. I had high cholesterol as a teen.
Which is crazy. Like no teenager should have high cholesterol.
Yeah.
I wrote down a bunch of the main preservatives and then some of the bad ones, and we can kind of like talk about them. So like salt is a preservative, you know, there's pros and cons to that. You know what I mean? Like salt is helpful, and that's why we have what we have, but also too much of it is the reason people do whatever. But nitrates, which are nitrates, and then actually when they're cooked, they become nitrosamines, nitro, and then SAMINES. There's BHA and BHT, sodium benzenite, potassium benzenite, potassium bromate, which could also be bromic acid, potassium salt, enriched flour. And then high fructose corn syrup can actually be a preservative. And then you have trans fats and hydrogenated vegetable oil, which is that like shortening, which is like that Crisco, partially hydrogenated. Soy, palm, you know, corn, whatever. It's funny, like almost all of them have I put little check marks by which ones are bad, and they're just all like check marks everywhere.
Yeah, like I remember getting an apple from McDonald's, and they came in the packet and they were sliced. Yes. Do you remember they're fucking disgusting. Have you ever
they taste weird.
They taste weird, but I think it was the citric acid. It was the preservatives on them.
Yeah. Yes.
Just eat an apple. Don't go.
And you're just like, just don't cut it up. Like, you're just kind of like, I get that you're trying to make things easier, but like, it's no longer a health food. It's no longer an apple. So like the first kind of preservative I became aware of was nitrates, because I went paleo, I don't know, let's say like 8 or so years ago. The way paleo is like, they basically like just say, don't eat anything white. And then if you're gonna, and that's like, you know, flour, rice, sugar, what have you. And then if you're gonna eat meat, which it's a lot of meat, it has to be like happy, healthy meat. You know, this meat is like organic. It went to college, you know, it never slept with anybody. Like, it's just like happy meat, that like good Christian meat. Keep in mind, everybody has like different versions of paleo, but most paleo is like, they're not crazy. They're like, yeah, you can have bacon, but if you're going to have bacon, let's make sure it doesn't have sugar in it and it doesn't have nitrates. And nitrates, they basically say like high risk of cancer, one being colon cancer. It's what you find in bacon, salami, which I love. My mom used to make me salami sandwiches as a kid. I didn't realize how Italian it was, but I was like, when I eat a salami sandwich now, I'm just like, my fondest memories as a kid come back. And there's only like 2 of them.
I have a sandwich like that. It's we call them Myrtle Beach sandwiches, because when we went to Myrtle Beach, we'd have a day at the beach and we'd come back for lunch. My mom would make, it was just ham and cream cheese on toast.
Wow.
That's so good though.
Yeah.
Like my friend who, like, you know, a bunch of our families went to the beach together. My friend, she has 2 kids now, and she was like, can you please tell your mom I just made my kids Myrtle Beach sandwiches. They loved it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It is like there's certain things that I definitely know like candy. I think candy was such a coping mechanism for me as a kid that I see it. I see that I get hurt or I see that I get stressed and upset and I head to the bodega and I get candy even though it never makes me feel good. I feel shitty about it afterwards. It's so funny that I still have these kind of like habits even with all the knowledge that I have. And for a while when I was paleo, I would still get dessert, but it was like healthier dessert that just didn't hurt my stomach or make me feel shitty. So nitrates, when you cook them, become just toxic. They're just horrible. So like even now when I get bacon, because paleo became so big, because keto became big, they have all these like sugar-free, nitrate-free bacon. I'm sure there's still problems with it, but they started to kind of cater to make it a little bit better. Then there's BHA and BHT. They pretty much deemed it a carcinogen to humans and that it like messes your hormones up. And this is stuff that you find in like cereal, gum, chips, beer, butter, candy,
Yes.
cosmetics.
I always thought it was preservatives that was causing all the cancer. Like do
I,
you have friends who have cancer? Like I had a friend who had cancer. She was like, she must have been like early 20s.
yeah.
I mean, like everyone gets cancer. I get that. But I'm just saying, like, it just feels.
If somebody's 60 and they get cancer, it's always tragic and it's not great. But like we put so much garbage in our body and we're able to kind of process it because we have a better immune system and all this other stuff. But when like kids, young adults, our
But
age, like there's something off.
because Ohio diets, it was all fast food for me. I can't keep like say that enough. It just, I'm like, I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. And I remember going to New York and, you know, mixed greens, you know how you
Yeah.
get an omelet and you'd come with a side of mixed greens. If you go to Ohio, to a diner in Ohio, you're getting sausage patty, an omelet with cheese or whatever, and hash browns. And if you get a salad, it's going to be an iceberg lettuce salad with those sticks of carrot. Just
Yes, yes,
pathetic
yes.
salads that nobody
And it
wants, just
costs
garnish.
extra because
Yeah.
that stuff goes bad and it costs them money to keep buying more of it.
Yeah. And then you go to New York and then suddenly like these baby greens are on my plate. And like the fact that I even noticed that just shows you how little I was eating anything that was whole foods.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely grew up on fast food and my mom like apologized like when we were like in our
They didn't
20s.
know.
That's exactly what she said. She's like, we didn't know. They didn't tell us. And like, I guess we're smart enough that we could have deduced it, but like, we just didn't think anybody would actively poison their clientele. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the craziest thing about America. Our food is such trash that everyone I know that is from Asia or Europe or Africa that's moved here has gone, I've gotten fatter. I don't feel good. I have stomach issues. My skin looks like shit. Everyone I know has gained weight, felt like shit, started getting stomach issues because they went from eating real food to eating trash. And don't get me wrong, they like the trash, but they're like, oh, I didn't
Everybody
realize.
likes the trash. Yeah, but they don't
Yeah.
realize what harm it's doing to their bodies. But that's why we're like the fattest people on earth. I remember when Nick came to LA, you know, just the plates, he would be like, holy shit, you know, because we'd go out to like a breakfast place and breakfast place don't fuck around. You get like the stack of pancakes and the eggs and the salad and the fucking like, and I'm just like, yeah. And he's just like,
That's how we do.
What? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what? He's like, what the fuck is this? And he's a Diet Coke drinker. And I remember the waitress was like, would you like another Diet Coke? He's like, oh no, thank you. And I was like, you know, it's a free refill because they don't do free refills here on coffee or diet, like, or soda. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you just you get as much as you want.
Yeah.
It's just,
So he's in LA for a week and he was like, I gained 45 pounds.
yeah.
It's insane. I don't know why. I did everything the same. I ate and I drank Diet Coke. I did nothing different.
The portions are huge in the States. The free refills thing isn't done in Europe. And the cheese is disgusting. And you all need to know that. Like, I cannot go back to eating American cheese in America, not even American cheese. It's fucking gross.
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is and like, this is where I'm like really grateful that comedy brought me overseas to tour in different places. You know, I started having these stomach issues. I mean, I've had them since I was a kid, but I started, they got really bad when I was like 24, 25, and I started doing something about it, finding out that I was allergic to yeast and all these other things. But the biggest thing I've noticed is like, I don't have celiac. I might have a gluten intolerance, but what happens is I eat pasta in Italy, I eat pasta in Australia, and my stomach is fine. There's no problem. And then I come back here and I think maybe my stomach's better. And then my stomach hurts again. Like I saw this also online. Italy will not accept American pasta. America has their fast food everywhere. They have their products everywhere. And a lot of times they change the recipe
I was
because
gonna
there's such
say.
there's stricter rules.
I
And
actually got really mad, like I'm killing your train of thought, but I actually got really
no.
mad watching a show about fast food in like India or everywhere else where it's like their burgers are pure and kosher and like it's the cleanest fast food you can get in other countries to adhere to the guidelines, and they're just feeding us just plastic.
Dog food.
Yeah.
There's like plastic and dog food. And that is really what's upsetting about it, is you think about it and they go, if we put it in the realm of boundaries, like we were talking about earlier, Europe and Canada are going, hey, these are toxic to our people and we don't want it in our cosmetics and in our food. And we have laws saying that we aren't going to poison our people. And Dove and McDonald's go, okay, well, we want to work with you guys, so we'll adhere to your boundaries, to your rules.
Mm-hmm.
And then America goes, we just want to make money. And if that means we kill people or people get sick, it doesn't really feel like an us problem because there's always more people.
Well, there
and
are rules. I mean, obviously, like the FDA does something. It's just, it's been a lot worse. But
dude, we have 7 banned things. I don't know what the word is. 7 of them are banned in the US. It's like 200 in Europe and 500 in Canada, or reverse that. I forget what it is. So it's like
ingredients or
ingredients. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's for both cosmetics like shampoo and lotion and what have you. And then food. So like even some of these things, potassium bromate, which is the potassium salt or enriched flour. So like basically what makes pasta and all that stuff. It's banned in Europe, Canada, and other countries because it's also an endocrine disruptor. I don't know what that is.
Endocrine disruptor?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
The endocrine, it feels like a hormone.
Yeah, it does. So it's supposed to increase the volume of bread, but it's like I've always known our flour is trash and this enriched stuff is literally just, and I understand where it came from. Like a lot of the habits even my parents had or I had, like we had, is because they had 5 kids, they didn't make a lot of money, and you have to feed a family. So when you enrich this flour, you get more from it. Your bread is bigger. Like even the fact that, like, I think I said this on an earlier episode, when I make meatballs, I can't put breadcrumbs in it because I'm allergic to yeast. And I remember when I first started cooking for myself, I told my mom, I was like, is there any way to replace the breadcrumbs? Because I can't have it. And she goes, you don't need them. And I go, well, why are they in the recipe? And she goes, it's just to make the meatballs bigger. It's to make them expand because it's a poor person's food. And I was like, oh, so I don't need them? She's like, yeah, they might help them keep them together, but you don't really need them. And so I make them without breadcrumbs all the time, and there's no difference. And I get that, like, you're trying to feed a family and stuff like that, but you start to realize, like, this enriched flour, it's probably to make it grow faster. It's probably to make it be more of it. High fructose corn syrup, it's 10 times sweeter than sugar, but it's cheap. Corn is the product of America, so there's tons of it, and it's stupidly cheap. So you're able to just make so much more money, and that's what all of this is about. It's like, it's so upsetting.
I actually feel like when I'm drinking anything with high fructose corn syrup, my throat closes up. Like, you know, I have all the throat problems, but I actually feel like it's harder to swallow when I eat anything that has that in it. You know, because Mexican Cokes, you know how they have actual cane sugar rather than high fructose corn syrup? I have no problem, like, drinking that soda and eating. But if I drink, like, an American soda, I can't swallow.
And isn't it so funny that, like, sugar isn't great for you either? You shouldn't be having a shit ton of sugar, but, like, I make sure that if I have a soda, I call them my fancy organic sodas. Like, I will have a fancy organic soda because at least it's sugar. Like, we're going to a place where, like, they're like, hey, you shouldn't have too much sugar. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm having real sugar over fake sugar. So I'm pretty much a health nut. Like, yeah. And that's the same thing with, like, these, like, I'll get these, like, kind of more organic chocolates because at least it's just sugar, because high fructose corn syrup, your body can't recognize it. That, and like we were talking about the hydrogenated vegetable oil, but that's in margarine. And that was where the real shift was. And this is where, like, my mom really taught me a lot of stuff. So basically in, like, the late 80s, early 90s, they were trying to, like, how do we lose weight? And they deemed fat bad. They said fat is bad because the word fat. I swear to God, it was like some teenage girl that's like, fat is bad because it's fat. So it's bad. And so they just wiped out all fat. So avocados are bad for you. everything's bad for you that has any type of fat. And what they did to make things taste better, because they took all this fat out, is they added sugar. And so now everything was high sugar content, but low fat, and everyone exploded. I remember watching When Harry Met Sally a couple years ago, and Harry has a fat friend, and he's like 20 pounds overweight. I wouldn't even say he's overweight. He like just looks like a normal dude, but he's the fat friend. And now if you're considered overweight, you're like 400 pounds. Like you're literally somebody that is like, you're in danger of real health problems.
Rob Reiner, was it Rob Reiner that was?
It was a different friend.
Okay.
The one I'm thinking of, it's a different guy, but he is in the movie. But that was the biggest shift in my lifetime, because we used to have snack wells. Like when we would have snacks, we'd have snack wells. And it was like, they weren't great cookies, but our parents let us have them as many as we wanted because they were deemed the healthy cookie.
Yeah.
But it was just a shit ton and it was like artificial sweeteners, and who knows what kind of tumors I'm going to have in like 10 years. The crap that I had. And we should do an episode on like how quickly you can reverse your health. Like if you really did eat McDonald's every single day for 10 years, can you reverse it by eating salads and whatever?
Oh, you 100% can. Bodies are very resilient. I'm sure you can. I don't know how long it would take, but yeah, I mean, just look at Super Size Me, and then what's the other one? The Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Did you watch that?
I didn't see that one.
It's a juicing one. So a guy he goes on a purely juice diet. All of his ailments clear up, and he goes on a kind of a crusade across the country. I think he's Australian, but he goes across America to introduce this to people. And they met this trucker, and the trucker at first was like, "Can you just fuck right off? I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
But then he called him a couple days later, and he's like, "I'm so sick of feeling bad. I'm so sick of feeling this way. I'm sick of he was overweight. He had like psoriasis, bad skin issues. I'm sick of carrying this much weight, and I need help." And so the guy got him on this juice cleanse, and he lost it, and his skin cleared up, and he became healthy again. And then you see these people on these juice cleanse slowly getting off of the pills that they were given. It's really beautiful, the documentary. But then another one, a follow-up one, came out, and that man had like gained all that weight back, because it's not like building any habits. It's just sort of, the problem is that you do it because you're told this is what you're supposed to do, but keeping it up is harder. And
I think that's what really makes me sad is like, first of all, I have all this information. I still eat garbage.
Yeah.
Like I'm way healthier than I used to be. And now mostly I eat this and I'm like, I feel bad that I did this. Like I physically feel bad and I emotionally feel bad because I know that I shouldn't be doing this. I think that's what's hardest, is that you build these coping mechanism, which is a lot of my sugar addiction. And then also you build these habits. And then also there's a financial thing to it. If someone cooked salmon for me every day, of course I'd eat it. They know how to make it good. It's good for you. But financially and with my lifestyle, that's just not a possibility. So I look at these families in like middle America that barely can pay their rent. And I would never judge anybody for feeding their kids McDonald's or anything, or, microwavable meals if that's what it takes to feed their children. So it's also so hard to be like, we have set it up in this country that the only food that is affordable is shit food. And on top of the fact that we don't take care of our lower income and we don't pay people what they should get paid to live and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's all intertwined, honestly. But I would love to look at the lower class in other countries and be like, are they also eating garbage that's going to give them cancer? Because we can't be the only country that has poor people that eat trash.
They're just not mass producing the foods the way we are.
Yeah.
You don't see shelves lined with Twinkies. And it's even funny, if you go to a supermarket in London, the American aisle is all fucking Pop-Tarts, Twinkies. Yeah. It's all candy. And right next to it is a European aisle, and it's pickled herring and jarred fucking food that are like canned so that if there's a war, you can still eat.
Yeah. I've seen that so many times and it makes me laugh, where I'm like, who visits us and doesn't look at us like caged animals that don't know any better? Like, I feel like a zoo animal sometimes, where they're like, they ate Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
Like, oh man, I want a Pop-Tart right now.
Yeah. You know what's the difference though? I've never eaten Pop-Tarts for breakfast. I eat them as a late night snack. It's just as bad, but I know it's not a breakfast food.
What were the ones that were the toaster strudels? Oh, fuck, yes, toaster strudels.
With the icing that also is cake.
This is the problem. It's so goddamn delicious.
It's amazing.
Well, we haven't solved it.
We didn't need my mom. We did something here. So I guess I would love to know what our fans, how they might have shifted their diet. Like if they grew up and ate like we did, or like most Americans did, and if what was their big shift and how did they keep up those habits. I feel like I've had people get sick and I've had to be like, I think it's your diet. And they're like, it's not that. And you're like, you don't even want to look into it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, let's see if I'm right. Okay. Not at all. You know, I have eczema and my eczema really cleared up when I went off gluten and clearly when I went off yeast. And now that it's come back, it's because I've been eating more gluten and I know that.
I'd like to know what, if you don't live in the States, like what you think of the American diet and like what you think of your own diet. Do you feel it's healthy? Do you feel like it could be better? I don't know.
Yeah. So write to us. You can write to us at 2nondoctors@gmail.com. That's 2 non full word doctors@gmail.com. We appreciate you and thank you for listening.
Bye.
Made this an editing mess for you.